Alright, so let's take a look at the raw cards before I submit them to PSA. So first, I wanted to submit these promos. They came in the Lorcana, I think it's the 100-year anniversary gift set. But you have the Mickey Mouse, Elsa, Genie, Stitch, Maleficent, and Maui. So I opened 3 of them. I'm going to be uploading that video later on. But I looked through and tried to grab the ones that I thought had the highest chance at PSA 10, because I think it'd be super sick to try to get a sequential set of this. So next up is Metazoo, Taco Man himself, Rudy, Cryptid Nation First Edition, the Rudy Investment Sasquatch. I've submitted plenty of these. I don't think this one's going to grade very high because the centering is honestly terrible on the back. Probably going to be an 8 or a 9 if I had to guess. But I had it lying around, so I figured may as well grade it. It's one of the more valuable ones. And then I have Crayon Eaters. So this one, I need at least one PSA 10 to come back to complete my Rudy series. So I went hard and I bought 4 of them. So I'm assuming one of these guys is going to get a 10. They were all in their cellophane wrap. Straight from the cellophane wrap into a top loader, so feeling good about this. But what I also did, I got one of each of the Crayon Eater promos for the crayons. So what I'm going to try to do is submit these in this order, and my hope is that we'll get a sequential set of PSA 10s of the Rudy Crayon Eater and then all the crayons afterwards. So this is an Elestrals card. This was a card that they call the Celebration Nimbug. So when A Drive or Dan first made the prototype deck products available, they were the first 5 prototype decks that you could get for Elestrals. I'm not sure if it was every order or if he ordered a set of 5, but he basically sent these out as a thank you gift with those decks. I've gotten a few of these just from buying them off the secondary market. I also got one when I originally purchased the deck. But Elestrals just got opened up to PSA, so I want to go ahead and submit my first Elestrals card to PSA. This was my best looking Nimbug. A lot of these early prototype cards had some pretty rough centering issues. So they've improved a lot on them after Kickstarter. I'm sure with the future sets that'll be the case too. But this was my cleanest copy, so figured I'd just give it a test run. So first Elestrals card. And then I kind of have some Pokemon bulk that I just kind of found interesting that, you know, I think I want to keep one of each for myself. So I figured if I submitted 3, better chance of me at least getting 1. So these are the Bulbasaur from the 151 set. These ones came from Best Buy. They were the Best Buy promos. This Morpeko card, I don't know, I really love this artwork. I don't know, it's just super cute. It's kind of Candyland-esque. So got 3 of those I'm going to submit in the hopes of getting a 10. The UPC promos, I'm a huge Mewtwo guy. Ever since I was a kid, Mewtwo's been my favorite Pokemon. So I got 3 of those, 3 of the Mews, and 3 of the Metal Mews. So I'm hoping I can get a set of 10 for that. I figured if I enter 3 of each, there's a bigger chance of that. So we'll see what these grades come out as in a few months. Well, hey there. February's PSA submission has arrived. For you guys, that was instantaneous. For me, it took a little over a month. So let's go ahead and see how we did on that submission and open up these cards. Super stoked to get these. So in the original videos, well, I've only done one submission video on the channel for PSA. I did the recording over the opening after I did the opening. So as far as population goes, I'm not going to be able to say the population as I'm opening it, but what I'll probably do is just put it on the screen so you guys can see the population on those. For this, I'm actually going to be opening and talking about it live. So let's go ahead and get into it. But first, we've got to switch to human hands. Now that's better. Alright, so this one came in 2 boxes. I submitted 30 cards on this run. So I'll go ahead and cut these open. Let's see what we got for grades. I think since I have the knife out, I'm just going to go ahead and cut both boxes open at this time. And I'm not sure what order these are going to come out in, so it's probably not going to be the same order that we showed in the beginning. I always find it a little ironic that you have to be super careful about what order you put the cards in. Sorry, I'm going to take this little sheet out that shows my personal information. But I find it ironic that you have to be super careful about what order you submit the cards in, but PSA returns them in whatever order. Not a huge deal, but a little funny nonetheless. Okay, so I think I'll go ahead and just take all the cards out to start. Use this one. Okay, there is our stack. Quite a stack of cards. Alright, a lot of these cards are for the personal collection. Some of the extras I do plan on selling that maybe aren't the grades that I want, or if I got extras of the grades that I want, we'll just go from there. So starting off, we have... Okay, so these are from the D100 Lorcana boxes from Floodborn. So we have Maleficent, and on that card we got a Gem Mint 10. Very solid start. Next up, we have Genie from the same product. This one got Gem Mint 10. Very nice. Now we have Maui, Gem Mint 10. My goal for this is to get a complete set of 10, so we shall see. We have Stitch. Okay, so we got a 9 there. Doesn't look like that full set of PSA 10s is happening this time. Alright, now we have Mickey Mouse. Another 9. Okay, well that's okay. So, looks like we got to chase down the Mickey Mouse and the Stitch card. But I will have some more of those that I'm submitting in my March PSA run, so should be okay. Hopefully we can at least get those cards in the PSA 10. So now we have a Metazoo stack. Okay. So Rudy the Cran Eater, this is the last card that I need in PSA 10. So let's see if we can pull those off. Alright, we got a PSA 10. That completes the Rudy line for me. I do have multiple of the Cran Eaters because I wasn't sure how these would grade. So we'll see how the other Cran Eaters do. And I also have a full set of the 3 crayons in this. So let's move on to the next one. Okay, we have another Rudy the Cran Eater. Another PSA 10. Doing really well on these so far. Okay, so we have a random Rudy Investment Sasquatch. As I've said before, if I can get any of the Rudy cards for a reasonable price, I just go ahead and submit them. Let's see what we got. PSA 10. Very solid. So this one's probably going to be up for sale. I already have my Cran Eater. Or excuse me, my Cryptid Nation First Edition Rudy. Alright, so now we have another Cran Eater. See, that's funny, right? They put that Investment Sasquatch in the middle of the Cran Eaters. Okay, we got a 9 on this, but that is okay. I'll take the other ones out of 10. Next up, this is going to be our last Cran Eater. Another 10. Wow, so 4 Cran Eaters submitted, and that is 3 of them getting a 10. That's pretty dang close to perfect. Stoked on that. Alright, so now we have a Cran. Oh man, they really put this out of order. I'm going to move some of these around because I wanted to try to get the entire Cran line. Alright, so we have the red Cran. That got A PSA 10. Awesome. I only submitted one of each of the crayon colors, so I was hoping to get it one and done. Next we have the blue crayon. PSA 10. Those were from the fan art, the second fan art competition. Last crayon, can we do it? Can we get the full set of crayons in PSA 10? Green crayon, let's go. PSA 10. Holy moly. Okay, so not only do I now have all of the Rudy cards in PSA 10, I also have the complete set of crayons. Why don't we look at that? And you know what? I also submitted the last set in sequential. So not only did we get PSA 10, but we have this crayon eater as cert number 604. This one is cert number 605. This one as 606, and this one as 607. So you are looking at the whole crayon eater line here in PSA 10 in sequential. So for those of you unfamiliar with the crayon eater series, how it was supposed to be, this is all artwork done by like Rudy and his kids and his wife. So it's just a cute little project they did for the fan art competition, and it made sense for the fan art, right? That was supposed to be Metazoo community members. This one, I know Rudy's not so much of a community member, but it was applicable for what the set was. So how it works is that the crayons go off and they combine into the artwork on the other cards. So I am more than stoked on that. I mean, that pretty much makes a submission for me. Me completing the Rudy crayon, or the Rudy Metazoo series, was a big project. So to get all of them now in a 10, I'm super stoked on that. Let me just take a peek at the back of these. All right. So it looks like that stack is mainly Pokemon. So I did submit one Elestrals card. It was the Celebration Nimbug. And the way that you got this card was you had to buy the prototype decks that were for sale. So those decks are no longer playable as far as competitive goes. And they changed some of the things in the decks. But the only way to get this card is if you were one of the original purchasers of the deck. So I've collected a few of these cards on the secondary market, but I also bought some deck sets that came with the original of these cards. Very, very hard to get good centering on these cards, and some of the ways that they were cut, you know, it's just, it didn't seem like there was a lot that had gradable condition. So let's see what we got on this. Okay, we got a 9. I'll take that on that. But I really love that artwork, super cute. I've said it before, but I really like what Elestrals does. So I'm just glad to start getting more Elestrals cards in slabs. I'm a big slab collector, so really like that. Okay, and now we have a big stack of Pokemon. So I believe, let's just double check, I believe all of these should be Pokemon cards. Oh, you know what? There was one Lorcana card that slipped in there. Man, like I said, they really mixed up this order. So let's see what this last Lorcana card was. Okay, so that was the last of the Rise of the Floodborn D100 kit. So let's see what we got on that. PSA 10. Okay, solid. So I believe I submitted 6 of those, so that means that we're still just going to need to chase down the other 2. Might have been more than 6. But I'll figure that out at the end of the video. So now we're on to Pokemon. This is just all Pokemon cards. So first up, this is the Bulbasaur Best Buy promo for 151. Really would love to get, there was the Best Buy promo, the GameStop Squirtle, no, GameStop Charmander, and the Pokemon Center Squirtle. So I'd love to get all of these cards in a PSA 10 set, but from what I've seen, very difficult to get them in a PSA 10 set. So I did submit 3 of these Bulbasaurs. Let's see what we got on the first one. Okay, that one is a PSA 9. Not what we were hoping for. And I bought multiple, like a good chunk of those promos, hoping that at least one of them would be PSA 10 worthy. Alright, next Bulbasaur. Another 9. Can we get it on this? Oh, that is not the last Bulbasaur. Alright, well, we'll just go for it. So this is a Morpeko. Really love this artwork. This is from, I believe it's Paradox Rift. So I'm really hoping that I can get a 10 for the personal collection on this. And we have a 10. Awesome. Next up, alright, there's our last Bulbasaur. Can we get a 10? I still have to submit the Squirtles and the Charmanders. I need to chase down more of them, honestly. But this was my start. This was the cheapest one. Another 9. Man, we got destroyed on those. 3 submitted, and all of them were 9s. Okay. Let's see if we can be a little consistent with this next set of cards. And at least see those were metal cards. Alright. So, this was the UPC Metal Mew. I was glad to see that PSA is grading these. I know I had heard from somebody that they were going to stop grading metal cards, but they did grade these. So I submitted 3 this round. Let's see what we get. PSA 10. I'd be really interested to see what the criteria was. I noticed that some of the cards do have nicks in them, and the printing would be off, the centering would be off. But super stoked to get one of those in a 10. I want the full set of the Ultra Premium Collection and a set of PSA 10. Alright, next metal card. Another PSA 10. Awesome. And the last Metal Mew UPC card. Another 10. Okay, we did really well on those ones. 3 10s. 3 out of 3. Okay, then we have the Mewtwo from the UPC. This is number 52 Black Star promo, and we got a 10 on that. As I've said before, or maybe I haven't said it, but Mewtwo is my favorite Pokemon. So I'm really stoked to get that in the PSA 10. Now we have a Mew from the UPC. And that got a 9. Alright. Got 2 more of those to check out. Here's another one of the Mews. Okay, we got a 10. Awesome. That means we have a full set of 10s on the Ultra Premium Collection. Very stoked on that. Great addition to the collection. Another Mewtwo. Wow, that got a 7. I wonder if I just missed something on there. Well, near worthless card there. No biggie though. Alright, another Mew from the UPC. Another 9. So those are a little bit harder to grade. 1 10 out of 3. Another Mewtwo. Another 10. Awesome. So the extras on that I do plan on selling. And then these last 2 should be more of these Morpekos. Because like I said, I really wanted a 10. I think the artwork's awesome. I think these are great cards for anyone's collection. Another 10. Very good. And the last Morpeko gets a 9. Well, we didn't do too bad. I submitted 30 cards for this submission. And there's our miscellaneous 7. Here is our stack of 9. So it looks like we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cards that ended up being PSA 9s. And here is our stack of PSA 10s. I think we did super well on this submission, actually. And look at that. So, what is that? 19 PSA 10s out of 30? Not too bad, you know. I don't have much experience grading Pokemon either, so I was really trying my best to eyeball that, so I feel pretty good about that. So at the end of this, I'll probably take the actual PSA pictures. I'm going to line them up so you guys can see the entire submission. And like I said, in post-edit, you should see the population report on these cards so you can get an idea of how many of them are out there in those particular grades. So let's go ahead and move to the next screen where I show the entire submission lined up. And then in edit, I'll probably just talk over the cards and give you guys an overall breakdown of the submission. Alright, let's go ahead and do our overview of the submission. So for the first 8 cards, we started off with the Mickey from the D100 Collector's Edition set that got a PSA 9. Second card was Elsa from the same set that got a 10. Third card, Genie from the same set, also got a 10. Fourth card was Stitch from that set, that got a 9. Maleficent from that set got a 10. Maui from that set got a 10, so we're going to need to chase down 2 more of those cards, being the Mickey and the Stitch, to try to complete that PSA 10 set. Moving on to Metazoo, we had Rudy the Investment Sasquatch, got a PSA 10. I was actually really surprised on that one, because if you remember from the beginning video, the start of the submission where I was showing the cards before they got submitted, the centering on the back wasn't that great, so I was actually surprised that this got a 10, although the front does look really good. Moving on to the Cran Eater series, the first card received a 9 on that. So then the other 3 cards for the Cran Eater series received a PSA 10. I was super stoked to get that grade. The other thing about this, so the population in total on those 10s, there's only 5 PSA 10s that exist out there, meaning that I actually own 3 out of 5 of those. It's kind of crazy, but I'm sure as we see those cards becoming more available on the market, we'll be seeing that population go up on those cards. I know Rudy said that he was holding a lot of the blisters back. He always said that he reserves the right to release more of his extra cards on the market if he so chooses. So we'll see what happens with the remaining Rudy series that he has, but so far the Cran Eater card I would say is the rarest card out there. It's the most difficult card to get. Second to the, and then the second most difficult card would be the Santa Claus Rudy. So then we have the crayons themselves, and remember I submitted these so you can see the certs on them. I submitted these sequentially, so we have the Cran Eater, the blue crayon, green crayon, and red crayon, all in PSA sequential 10s. So that's going to be a cherished part of the collection. Don't plan on selling that anytime soon, probably never. Super stoked to get that though. Then we have a single Elestrals card. This was the Nimbug prototype card that received a PSA 9. I'm okay with that grade because out of all the Nimbug cards that I've gotten, this particular card, it's very hard to get the centering right, and you do have some edge wear on a lot of the cards, so that's probably going to be the highest grade that I can find. Might still buy those on the secondary market, but happy with that being a 9. Again, that population was only 1 on that, so I don't think a lot of those have been submitted. Then we have Pokemon. So there is the Bulbasaur Best Buy exclusive from Pokemon set 151. On those, I got all 9s out of the 3 that I submitted. Then we have the Morpeko from Paradox Rift. This was the illustration rare. Again, very cute artwork. 2 of those received a 10. 1 of them received a 9. I'm happy with that. Don't have a lot of experience grading Pokemon, so for me just eyeballing it, not too bad on that. Then we have the Ultra Premium Collection Mewtwo's. So I got 2 10s on that and then a 7. So I'm assuming that I missed something on the 7. I reviewed the card after going through the submissions, and it looks like there might be a ding on the back side of that 7. So I'm guessing I just missed it. Doesn't look like it was damaged in transport or by PSA. I think I just didn't see it. All right, last up we have the rest of the UPC promos. So on the Mew EX, very beautiful artwork of Mew floating over a city. A little more difficult to grade. I thought I was pretty consistent with reviewing these in comparison to the Mewtwo. But I got 2 9s on that and 1 10. So I'm happy with that 10 at least. That makes it so that I have the entire UPC set in PSA 10. And then, of course, you have the Mew EX metal card that came in those UPCs. I got a 10 on all of those. I do have a decent amount of those, and the population seems pretty high, so I think everybody has the same idea that they're just a really cool promo set. But the metal cards seem to grade pretty well. I did go through and make sure that the ones that I submitted didn't have any nicks, and I also tried to be consistent with the reverse side, although you will see some gold coloring on, typically I believe it's the left side of the borders when you look at the reverse of them. It doesn't seem to affect the PSA grade though, and I'm pretty sure just about every single one that I've seen has that kind of border issue on the reverse side. So if you plan on submitting those, just FYI, that does not affect the submission, but I would assume that when you review these cards, you really just want to make sure that there's no kind of chipping or dings along the card. So that's going to do it for the February PSA submission. I'm going to be trying to do a submission on a monthly basis. I love slab cards, and I think it's a great addition for display purposes to any collection. And I have a variety of TCGs that I do collect. You know, for me, I just like keeping one PSA 10 of every single card. I'm not trying to hoard a bunch of the 10s. So all the extra cards that you see, whether they got a lower grade than the 10 or the extra 10s that I got, you'll see them posted on my eBay if you follow me on eBay. So those will all be available. I'm going to try to stay competitive with the market on all of the cards just to try to get them out quick because it funds the future PSA submissions. So if you're looking for any of these cards, feel free to go to my eBay. You can always hit me up also on my contacts that I always leave in the description of the videos if you're interested in any of these cards. Typically looking for cash on these because, like I said, I try to fund future PSA submissions off of the sales of the extra cards that I get. But I might be willing to trade depending on what you have in the collection. Like I said, I collect a variety of TCGs, so always open to seeing if we can work out a deal, even if it's partial cash and partial trade. So just let me know. I try to be flexible. I love the collector community. I love helping people out, fill in the gaps in their collections, and you know that helps me fill in the gaps in mine. The community aspect is probably my favorite part of the TCG world. Fellow nerds like me that are older and have adult money finally and can start buying the cards that they want and getting the collectibles that they want. So anyways, guys, I do have a March submission that I've already submitted to PSA. So if PSA is consistent with this monthly, it looks like they're pretty much getting the cards back within a month at this point. It might be a little over a month, but you'll see more of my PSA submissions for the March one. And on that one, I actually have 50 cards that I'm submitting. So we have 20 more than this submission. So that one's going to be a heavy one. But I always appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate it if you guys want to leave me a like and a comment. Let me know what you think about my pull rate this time on the PSA 10s, which cards were your favorite. And thanks as always. This has been Escaped Alien. I'll see you guys next time. Check out my eBay if you want any of these cards. Peace.